was in the 2016 election. I was the reporter who found Hillary Clinton's email server in her basement, and that was that the disclosure of her decision to do that was very damaging to her politically, and frankly helped sink her presidential aspirations. And so, to the right, that was heroic journalism because it really tarnished the image of this liberal icon. Uh, not much longer after that, my same investigative team, we exposed illegal lobbying on behalf of President Trump's campaign chairman, or then candidate Trump's campaign chairman, Paul Manafort. Uh, got him indicted by the Justice Department. The indictment was almost exactly as our story read, many months later. They sent him to prison. President Trump ended up pardoning him. But again, now the liberals were applauding that coverage because that took down a Republican figure, and our approach to that kind of political journalism and accountability journalism, it wasn't going after the left or going after the right. It was looking at what people were doing, powerful people, and whether they were breaking the law or whether they were doing things that people ought to know about, and sort of the consequences, be damned. So we're sort of equal opportunists when it comes to I don't care if you're a Republican president or a Democratic president. I'm going to evaluate you. I'm going to scrutinize your activities and your decisions, and I'm going to write stories, write news articles about what you're doing and what you're not doing, so that people can evaluate the job that you're doing. And I think that's what we try hard to do.
I think something interesting when you're talking about dealing people with power is that it's almost a given that there's going to be incentives one way or the other, right? So where do incentives, it could be financial from one side or the other, how do they come in the game? Because I'm not too sure how it works, but I imagine that there are certain political campaigns that could be involved either financially, at least somehow, to certain.
Sure. So what you're talking about is the commercial and financial potential conflicts that might affect how a news organization reports the news. So, for example, Disney owns ABC, or it's part of the ABC conglomerate. So you wouldn't expect ABC News to do a lot of hard-hitting investigative journalism into corrupt practices at the Disney Corporation. And that's, there's probably some truth to that. There are other news organizations that are not going to be as constrained. And so we have, that's why it's important to have more than one news organization and to read and consume the content from more than one news organization, because, they all have these potential conflicts.
And for example, when I can imagine let's do no advertisers to be unbiased towards our advertisers. Let's try to have not a parent company that could damage our thinking. But at the end of the day, those are companies, right? They need to make a profit. If there's no money, there's no jobs, there's no news, there's no information. Then it could come into mind, how do I increase the number of viewership, which I imagine increases the number of profit that comes to us.
So when you're trying to evaluate, and you're running a newsroom, and you're trying to evaluate what stories and what types of content to publish, and what gets the most viewers and the most readers, that will be most saleable and most marketable to advertisers, because that's really what the model still is. It's an easy trap to fall into. Like, we could all write stories about puppies and the Kardashian family, because people have found, that those are high interest subjects. But thankfully, foreign policies, international coverage, which tend not to be quite as popular as those types of areas, we still publish those. So it's a balance between giving readers what they want, and also sort of giving readers what they need to know. Um, uh, there's a shockingly limited, minimal amount of concern about corporate profits among most news reporters. We really don't think about that day to day. We think about writing the best, most accurate story that is going to be most compelling to the most number of readers or viewers or listeners. And we know that we trust that profits will follow if we're doing a trusted job, and readers are trusting us to do that. They're going to pay for our services, whether it's their attention or whether it's now we're getting more into subscription models where you're paying a few bucks a month or $5 a month in order to be able to access our content, the Washington Post or the New York Times. This increasing partisanship and political division, I think, is really bad for democracy. I think it's bad for journalism too. But we're seeing news organizations weathering those storms by, for so long during the Trump administration, Republicans and conservative voters thought the media generally were treating Trump unfairly, and then after in 2020, President Biden gets elected, and we're a year into Biden's term, and Biden is now complaining that he's being treated unfairly by the media. And I want to go back and remind the Trump voters, if there is a bias among reporters, this is the bias: is we scrutinize those in power, and I covered in Washington. I covered presidents, from Bush to Clinton to the other Bush, to Obama, Trump, and there really, there really is not favoritism, I would say, in mainstream newsrooms.